Káàbọ̀, ṣé dáadáa ló dé? A ti ń retí rẹ o, káàbọ̀, ṣé dáadáa ló dé? Mo tún ní káàbọ̀, ṣé dáadáa ló dé? A ti ń retí rẹ o, káàbọ̀, ṣé dáadáa ló dé?
Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to the first live streaming event of the Aroko Theatre Company's Speaking Without Voice project. Our theme for today is celebrating heritage through theatre. My name is Juwon Ogungbe. I'm a composer and singer, and the sounds you just heard before me were from Viola, who was saying Kaabo, which means welcome. Which means did you arrive safely, and Atin Retini, which means we've been waiting for you. And Richard simulated all of her greetings on the talking drum. So IROKO is going to present to you some non-verbal communication modes from Nigeria. We aim to reveal to you what these symbols mean. In doing this, we also aim to enhance learning and understanding, thereby improving ways and means of interpreting and adapting these heritages, since they are part and parcel of the shared histories of Nigeria and the UK. In collaboration with the Nigeria Art Society, artists Chike Azonye and talking drum experts Richard Olatunde Baker and Ayo I, IROKO has trained people from all walks of life in this process. The training program has reached a diverse range of community sectors. These include people living with dementia and their carers, teachers who have received continuing professional development training, and volunteers who are given opportunities to participate and learn. We've documented research, developed skills, and presented high-quality interpretation of the symbols. IROKO also created a musical theatre production called A Present for the Women of Uli, which toured to libraries and community centres across London before the lockdown started. Today, we present to you some highlights from the show.
Hi, Mom.
Hello, my son. How are you?
I'm fine. Just tired of working from home, you know?
Yeah, well, couche. I can see you are working in the fridge. And every day you keep looking bigger like your dad.
Stop it, man. Don't start. Hey, how are you?
Me, I'm fine. No, I thank God, my dear. Thank God. BC.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see you. Get up. Let me see you. What are you wearing? What is this one? Let me see.
Can you not see it?
Speaking without voice. What is this one you are wearing now, BC? Speaking without voice. God forbid, though. Who is speaking without voice again? I have asked you to stop wearing all these funny Chinese t-shirts now. Since the last time I came to your place, BC. You keep wearing all sorts of funny Chinese t-shirts.
Mom.
Don't you know? Since you found that talking drumming group.
Mom, this isn't a Chinese t-shirt. This is African.
African? What
Yeah.
African?
Nigerian.
Nigerian?
Yes, Mom. I don't know why you think these symbols are Chinese. Look carefully. They're Nigerian symbols, Mom.
Nigerian symbols, Olabisi. What Nigerian symbols? Have you been to Nigeria before to see what their symbols look like?
Well, is it my fault I haven't been to Nigeria, Mom?
Don't even start, please. I only called to see how you're doing.
All right, Mom, calm down. We're only talking. It isn't my fault I've not been to Nigeria, is it? Look, Mom, these symbols are how Nigerians used to communicate. You see, each single one has its own special meaning. Non-verbal communication.
Oh, So now you want to teach me how my people speak, eh?
There you go again, Mom. Look, my people. They're our people, Mom. I'm Nigerian as well. You see, our people used to use these symbols to communicate way before Western alphabet even got to Nigeria, especially cult members and elders in the villages.
Eh? Olabisi? Especially who?
Elders and cult members in the villages.
Hey! Temi Bami.
What?
How did you know about the Nigerian court, BC? Don't tell me COVID-19 has made you join the Nigerian court on the internet. Hey! Internet, Temi Bami.
Mom, what do you mean?
BC, have you joined the Nigerian court in London? Hey! Baba mi o. My son has joined the Nigerian court in London. BC.
Mom, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't joined the cult.
You know I managed to keep you away from the gang, BC. And now you have joined the Nigerian court. And you are wearing their t-shirts, BC.
Mom, I still don't know what you're talking about.
Hey, you see why I don't want you to be working with that riffraff or who calls himself a drummer?
Bruv.
Your friend, Dele, the drummer, all his mates are in the university, but all he does is going around parties playing gong. And now you have joined their court, BC. Now you have joined their court. Do not mom me, BC. Do not mom me at all. You see why I don't want you to learn how to play the talking drum? Especially those little juju drums that I saw in your house the other time. Whoa, BC. Okomi, let me tell you, BC. I know all these drums. I know all these juju drums. They are used by idol worshippers. Those that worship juju. See, let me tell you. They are used to worship Shango, Obatala, Eshu. Hey! Chufiakwa. Eshu is a liar. Olabisi. Eshu is a liar.
Yes.
Irọ́ ni Èṣù ń pa. Èké ni Èṣù ń ṣe. Báyé ń gbógun ẹ̀rù kò bà mí. Irọ́ ni Èṣù ń pa. Irọ́ ni Èṣù ń pa.
Richard has just demonstrated the way that talking drums are used in some Nigerian traditions. Talking drums simulate human voices when skillful drummers play tonal patterns that are produced by the vibration of membranes. And young British Nigerians are using talking drums to connect with the heritages of their African forebears. Some of them are creating their own contemporary modes of communication. Now we'd like to hear your views about what you've seen and heard so far. I have a question for you, actually, just one question. So the question is this. BC's mother thinks the symbols on his t-shirt are Chinese and is surprised to learn they're Nigerian. She also doesn't want him to play the talking drum and is concerned about cult membership. What do you think about her reaction? Gillian says, let me check what Gillian's saying here. My answer is fear of losing tradition and son. Okay, well, that's an interesting thought. Ryan says overreacting. Jenny says interesting tensions about authenticity and heritage in transnational contexts. Justine says, I wonder what she's trying to protect him from. Lekia says, I believe it's typical of most Nigerians. I once met a woman who says she doesn't go to Nigeria because of juju. And then there's a raised hand from Nana. Yes, so Nana, do you want to speak?
Yes, good afternoon. The problem, this young man has told his mom, I've never been to Nigeria. She overreacted, and she's instead of her trying to find out why he's curious, he's never been to Nigeria, yet he wants to learn about his own culture, which is very important. The other thing I want to ask, did she teach him Yoruba? Does he know how to speak Yoruba? Because for him, he wants to find out his identity. It's a question of identity.
Well, maybe we'll find out. Maybe
Pardon?
we'll find out. Maybe we'll find out if you can speak Yoruba later on.
Yes, but she shouldn't react that. In fact, she should be welcoming that the fact that he's never been to Nigeria, and yet he's playing the talking drum. She should give him a clap on the back, and not being a naughty mother.
Well, thank you very much, Nana. Thank you. I just want to read a few more from the chat section before we move on. So, Helen says, does she still want to control her son, even though he's clearly grown up and doesn't live with her? Ife says, she has a lack of understanding of the Nigerian heritage. Uche says, quite similar to a lot of what Africans think. Jenny Copsey says, well acted and believable that she wants him to stay in British culture, as maybe doesn't feel proud of her culture. Angela Harvey says, disconnection with African spirituality. Lekia says, I wouldn't say she's overreacting because it is what many Nigerians actually react that way. Okay, well, that's a very interesting group of contributions and thoughts from you. Thank you very much. So, BC does his best to reassure his mum that he isn't being indoctrinated and isn't going off the rails. Listen to what he tells her.
Mom.
Yes.
Do you remember when I went to Liverpool a few weeks ago?
Uh-huh.
I went to the Igbo compound at the Slavery Museum.
Igbo compound at the Slavery Museum in Liverpool?
Yes, Mom. The compound is decorated with beautiful and meaningful Uli and Nsibidi symbols, Mom. Look at this. This is a lizard. And
is what? The lizard?
Yes, Mom. And it means a lot to me because it reminds me of you.
Olabisi, are you okay?
Hmm?
You mean you went all the way to Liverpool to see a lizard and it reminds you of me?
Yes, Mom. Mom, it reminds you of me and I can tell you why.
BC. You went all the way to look at the picture of a lizard, Alangba, in Liverpool, and it reminds you of me.
Yes, Mom. I went all the way because nobody in this household told me what this lizard represents to my culture. Nobody told me about the connection I have to it through my heritage. Not you, not the school, nobody. Not even the church that you make me go to every Sunday.
But to go to all the way to Liverpool just to look at the picture of a lizard, is that not?
Yeah, Mom, it's madness. I know it's madness, but don't you think that it's a positive madness for me to know who I am and where I'm from?
Olabisi, going to Liverpool to see a lizard, you call that positive madness?
Mom, can't you see that this isn't just the image of a lizard? It represents the struggle of the millions and millions of women all over the world, just like you, and just like the women of Uli, who paint these beautiful symbols. You see, while I was in Liverpool, Chike Azonye, a respectable Nigerian artist, told me the story of the lizard. According to him, there's a story of the lizard, and it goes like this. One day, the lizard, or Alangba, as you like to call it, fell from the tall Aroko tree, landed on its feet, looked left, looked right, saw everyone watching him, but nobody could praise him for what he'd done. So he said to himself, if none of you will praise me, yeah, I will praise myself. I tried, said the lizard. Mom, now you see the lizard, it represents strength, perseverance, and most of all, the resilience of women in general. And that's what it is. When I look at this lizard, I don't see a lizard. I see a beautiful, strong, committed, dedicated, and resilient woman. That's what you are, Mom. And just like the lizard, there was no one there to praise you. You're my heroine, you know.
she'll call me. Oh. She'll call me.
Mom, it's okay. Mom, you see, you know, it was all the wonderful things about you that made me want to go on this journey in the first place.
It's the wonderful things about you that sent me on a journey to find out more. I see you, Mama, I hear you, Mom. Every day, rain or shine, you've given me love. I see you, Mama, I hear you, Mom. Now I'm old enough to see the value of all the sacrifices you've made for me. I see you, Mama, I hear you, Mom. I appreciate your strength and wisdom. I see you, Mama, I see you, Mom.
He's afraid of things about you that fills me with the need to protect you. I see you busy, I hear you, son. Every day, rain or shine, you've needed support. I see you busy, I hear you, son. Now you're old enough to spread out your wings. I see you busy, I hear you, son. I appreciate that you're a young man now. I see you busy, I hear you, son.
I see you, Mama.
I see you busy.
I hear you, Mom.
I hear you, son.
I'm here for you, and you're here for me. I see you.
I hear you. Thank you, my son. God bless you.
I love you, Mom.
Nsibidi and Uli use visual images to express various facets of the human condition and to pass on coded messages. All these modes of communication have been used through centuries to inform, give, advise, warn, motivate, admonish, or incite people into acting as communities. Perhaps because of this, these non-verbal communication modes were actually banned by the British colonial administration in Nigeria. So, another question for you. If you were in BC's position, how would you have explained to his mum about the lizard symbol?
Nana
Yes.
here.
Yes,
I am from Akwa Ibom.
Yes.
So in Akwa Ibom, in Eket, we have animals as well as our symbol. We have a place in Eket called Ikorebo, which is the town of the monkeys, a symbolism. The tortoise, Iket has a symbol. The tortoise is regarded as in Akwa Ibom, in Eket, is as a cunning creature, as a cunning creature. We use animals. So I will try to explain to her that even in where I come from, we have animals as our symbols, and these animals represent a lot of things within our tradition. I mean, we only have to go back to ancient Egypt, where you see that animals, dogs, cats, all represent something. They all represent something in our daily lives, you know, and
Okay. Well, that's great. Thank you for that. And I've got some things, some observations in the chat here that I'd like to read to everyone as well, including some that you gave, Nana. You say here, BC's mum should be proud of her son. He's celebrating Yoruba culture. I think she's the one who's forgotten about her culture. And then you put the name of a book there, which people can check in the chat section if they want to. And then after that, Selena says, I think he explained it perfectly. Jenny Manda says, I wish I could communicate so well with my mum through singing. That's very kind of you. Thank you. And then PJ Samuels, poet, says, I'd probably tell her what it means before I said it reminds me of her, and maybe tell her the story first. Uche says, I would have first explained to her what the symbol of the lizard represents before telling her that it reminded him of her. Helen says, I wouldn't do it differently from Olabisi, especially as he went out of his way to educate himself and his mother about their culture. Lekia says, don't think I would have explained the lizard differently from BC. I love the acting and it almost brought a tear to my eye. Almost. Oh, that's nice. Thank you, Lekia. So,
I can I intercede there? In fact, I think it is BC's mom who's at fault here. She grew up in Yoruba culture. He's never been to Nigeria. She lived in Nigeria. She grew up there. She was brought up there. So that education she received as a child, she should have imparted it to her son. I'm lucky that my father was from Ghana, from Cape Coast. I grew up there, and I also grew up in Nigeria. I lived in Lagos, I lived in Ibadan, and I lived in Calabar and Uyo. So I could speak most of the languages there. So his mom didn't bring him up in the Nigerian culture. And I live in Wales at the moment, and I see how the Welsh fight strongly. I mean, in Wales, the dragon is the symbol, and they worship their dragon. And I see it here, and the language. So if you want to preserve your culture, your culture, your language, your symbols, they represent your culture through and through. And it's
okay, well, thank you, Nana. That's very good. Thank you very much. Simply because we need to get on to the next scene.
okay.
It seems like BC's explanation is lost in translation before he manages to make his mum understand his thoughts and feelings. Now she's more willing to listen. Is he reminding her of something?
That's what we dreamed of, your father and me. A fine, fine place, a happy life at home, walking with pride, no matter where we roamed, thriving health and prosperity. That's what we dreamed of, your father and me. Pleasing walk, living time that could be free for rosy visions of who we were to be. High regard from our folks across the seas. That's what we dreamed of, your father and me. Oh, that's what we dreamed of, your father and me. Life. So, yes,
so
my dear.
let me show you something to change the mood, huh?
Okay, my darling, what is that?
You see, each of these symbols has its own different meaning. Okay? This one here is the Nsibidi symbol for love and unity. As you can see with the joining, like this.
Okay.
The dove is a symbol of peace.
I know that one. Hey.
This is the Hindu symbol for peace as well. And then finally, Mom, a symbol that's actually Chinese. The yin yang.
Chinese.
It represents balance.
Eh?
And then there's this. This is the orange. Yeah.
I know.
In Yoruba land, the orange is a symbol of love. Mom, I know you can't take it from me, but this is for you. I love you, Mom.
I love you too, Okomi. Thank you. But wait, Olabisi. Wait. So you mean if you give someone an orange, it means they like or love you?
Yes, Mom. Like I said, the orange is an Aroko symbol of love in Yoruba land.
Eh?
What happened?
Oh, Bisi, this is bringing back memories of my childhood, you know. I remember when I was about 12 or 13 in Lagos. I was coming back from school one day when a man who lived at the end of our street gave me 2 oranges.
Huh?
I took the oranges from him and I went home and showed them to my mom and told her who gave the oranges to me. My mom did not say anything. No. She took the oranges from me and went straight to the man, and they had a very big row. Bisi, I have never seen my mom so enraged like that before. All I could hear her constantly saying was, "Leave my daughter alone. My daughter is going to go to school. My daughter will go to the university."
Serious?
That became my dream, oh my son. That became my dream until
Until what, Mom?
Forget it. Don't worry.
Oh, Mom. Hey.
I said forget it. All I know is that I stopped eating oranges. That is why I don't eat oranges again, Obisi. Because it reminds me of that hot afternoon when the whole neighborhood was watching my mom behaving like a possessed Nollywood witch, shouting and cursing. Abaya! Mommy Sile! Abaya! Foolish man! Leave my daughter alone! Abaya! Now I know why my mom was so enraged, you know. But nobody told me the story behind the oranges.
Like no one told you about the lizard and what it means. You see, Mom, it's called non-verbal
communication. Oh, God. But you know, the funny bit was that we had an Ayo in our compound, though. Ayo, the talking drummer. And anytime Ayo, the talking drummer, sees this man who gave me the oranges walking down the street, he will pick his talking drum and start drumming. Àgbàyà, ọlọ́sàn, àgbàyà, ọlọ́sàn, òǹbọ̀, ọlọ́sàn, àgbàyà, ọlọ́sàn. Oh God, oranges, love. Now I know, my dear.
I'm glad you understand now, Mom.
My dear, you learn every day. You learn every day. Hey, Olabisi, I remember. You promised to send me the CD of the talking drum about the boy who stole the beef from the jollof rice.
The boy who stole the beef from the jollof rice?
that one na ọmọdé ju beef sílẹ̀, that one.
Mom.
Mom.
You cannot kill me, please. You cannot come and kill me. Drop.
How am I killing you?
That song, we made that song because of the rise in knife crime. We were trying to say, ọmọdé ju beef sílẹ̀. Drop the beef. It means stop fighting. Drop the argument. Drop the knives.
Oh, sorry.
Beef from the jollof rice pot, Mom. Apart from you.
I like this song, maybe it's because of that beef thing. I so much like it.
Drop the beef now. Drop the beef now today. Drop the beef now today. Drop the beef now today.
My dear, I like this song. I like it so much. Don't forget to send it to me. Don't forget, please.
Of course. And I'll also send you one of these Chinese t-shirts as well.
If you have my size, why not? Send it. I will wear it. Okay, my son. Thank you very much.
No problem. I'll see you again.
My son.
Bye, Mom.
My dear. Bye-bye. Love you. Bye-bye.
I love you like a lizard.
Our research revealed that many British-based young people respond well to the sounds of talking drums when they hear them sampled on electronic recordings. Some of them can even make the sound when they do beatboxing, but very few have access to learning the art and skill of playing the instrument. They also know very little about talking drum traditions or history. Now, I know that there were quite a lot of things in the chat section, so I want to read some of them to you before I ask you the next set of questions, or the next question. Okay. And pure theatre and education, love it all, from Julian. Thank you, Julian. From Debbie, well done with the synchronizing across Zoom of music and voice. Not easy. Well, yes. And thank you for that, Debbie. PJ Samuels, this is delightful. Thank you so much. And then Lekia says, agree with you, Debbie. Synchronizing across Zoom cannot be easy. Nana says it's like the banana, which is a fruit of energy, but is also a symbol of money and signifies your savings. And Lekia says, love you like a lizard. I'll be using that one. Yeah, cool. I like that, Lekia. All right. So I have a question for you, and that is, what do you think should be done to keep these non-verbal modes of communication alive for future generations in the UK and elsewhere? Okay, I can see like some chat. Let's see what the chat says. They can do workshops in schools and clubs. IROKO does a lot of that already. Justine says what you're doing is perfect, showing but also explaining. Gillian says could definitely use the symbols on text. PJ Samuel says this is a good start. Theatre and other art forms. Okay. Any other thoughts? Any other ideas? Ife says parents. Let me go back to chat. Parents need to become more informed as it needs to be used at home. Well, that's great. Thank you for all your contributions. More children's colouring books, Gillian says. Okay. Yes. Jenny says, keep the grant funding coming to IROKO. Yes, definitely, for sure. And some publicity on TV for wider coverage. Yes. And we have Chike Azuonye of the Nigeria Art Society UK and Richard Olatunde Baker. They're both with us today. Richard's been playing through the performance. Do you have any questions for them about the symbols or the talking drum? Okay, before you ask the questions, let's just see what the chat, there's more in the chat. It's great. Shiva says, just keep up the good work you're doing a lot all over already. Uche says, more productions such as this one. And I would love it to be introduced as part of African history, culture, and literature in the schools. Nana says, Parents need to teach their children about these symbols through children's books. Brian and Sharon says, why do they call it the talking drum? Richard, would you like to answer that question, please?
So the drum speaks, the language is Yoruba, is tonal language, but just to sort of put it into something that if you speak English, you'll kind of hear like. So the idea is, that's in English, so that we actually speak. So there's proverbs, lots of wise sayings, praises, insults, jokes, so many things you can say with a drum, and it's there ever present in a gathering to punctuate or even initiate something during that time. So it's not a novelty, it's very prominently speaking and very clearly saying specific things.
Okay. Justine asked a question about how old is the tradition, and I'm wondering if that's for just the talking drum or for both. Before we go on to Chike, let's just ask about women. Do women play the talking drum?
Yeah. So now, yes. Originally, no. There's other drums that are it was even more forbidden for women to play, which again they are playing now. So no, it wasn't part of the thing. It was a paternal father-son tradition. But now we have a lot of very good drummers, because we have to be careful not to just say, oh, it's a woman, that's nice. But we actually have some very good female drummers. So that thing has changed for the good, I think.
Yeah, footage I've seen from Nigeria, I've seen like fabulous drummers who happen to be female, fabulous talking drummers. Yes. There are quite a few questions here for you, Richard, before we go to Chike. So let's see. Can I buy a talking drum in England? That's from Tony.
Yes, you definitely can, because I sell them. Yes, no problem whatsoever. The main thing is it's not just me that sells them via IROKO as well, obviously, is the difference between a professional sounding one and a touristy one. So there's all kinds of quality, but it's very easy to get a good one here. Yeah, you've come to the right place.
Okay. And then Ife says, how can we learn more as individuals? Do you have a link for more information? And I'm going to answer that question on behalf of IROKO. I'd like to say that IROKO has a resource pack which we can send to everyone. You know, so I'll give you some information at the end of this presentation about our contact details if you don't have them already. And then Jenny says, in response to a previous question, bring into the national curriculum and link with Black Lives Matter. And then I think Nana was saying how maybe that's about the Black Lives Matter. I'm not sure, or I'm not sure. Maybe. Selena says, is the talking drum specific to Nigerian Yoruba culture, or is it used in other cultures? Victor, sorry, Richard.
So it is a Yoruba drum. I've done a bit of research on the hourglass-shaped drum. It actually came with the spread of Islam from the north, but it wasn't used as a speaking drum until it reached people who had tonal languages. So the Yoruba one is recognized as the original one. But if you go to Mali, they have the Tama, Senegal, the whole of the sort of region of West Africa. There's talking drums. The Hausa people use kalongu, so they have different names, slightly different sounds, different materials, speaking different languages, but it's a West African thing on the whole.
And Tommy is written here, where, like with a zillion sorts of question marks, where can I get the talking drums? And I think Richard maybe you might need
can get,
to,
yes, if you send a direct message to IROKO, because I have them. IROKO has some good ones.
Yeah. Okay. A quality one, she says.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah.
Okay. So Justine said her question about the tradition was about the talking drums. We would love to know about the cymbals as well. And then Lekia says, why and when did you learn to play the talking drums, Richard?
Yeah. So no, I was brought up with African music, playing in the house in UK. It wasn't cool and trendy back then, I can tell you. So that was just there. That was just part of the backdrop, you know, to my childhood. So I think it was probably only a matter of time. But nobody in my family was playing it, so I had to seek out the drummers, and I was very lucky to find the people who were playing on the records that I used to listen to. So a lot of them came to London. So, you know, Peckham, South London was my training ground for sure.
Okay. And Jenny says, what do you mean by a tonal language?
Oh, so yeah, tonal languages, not just in Africa. Chinese, I believe, is a tonal language. That's where you have to, if you have a word like ile or ile, it's literally the tone that will determine along, obviously with the syllables as well. So it's a language that you sing. You have to know the ups and downs in the language, so that you get the correct meaning, because there will be words that have the same spelling, but you will sing them differently. So that's why it works so well on the drum, because it follows the tuning.
So Tommy is getting into real negotiation mode here. What type of money? I think we can talk about that maybe when like you get in touch with IROKO, yeah? Tommy, is that all right? Okay. And then I realize you're recording. Will it be posted anywhere so we can revisit this? Maybe. I think that's something that we can keep you posted about later. And then Harry says, keep the symbols on the t-shirts and parents to teach the young people their traditions. Continue the great work you're doing, you know. And something like, yes, the social media. So yeah, that's in response to about the question about the recording. That the recording will be shared on social media. It will be interesting to find out a little bit about how old the Uli and Nsibidi traditions are. Could you tell us about that, please?
I don't know exactly how old they are, but they are ancient traditions of the not well for Uli, yes, ancient tradition of the Igbo people, but in Nsibidi, it's also a very old. It's a language. Nsibidi is a language practiced in the southeast of Nigeria, especially by the Igbos, if the rivers, cross river state, and even up to Cameroon. So it's a kind of secret society, the Ekpe society. That's their language, and it's a very ancient language. I think that's it's quite difficult to put a date on that, because it predates the advent of colonial. You know, when the colonial people came to Nigeria, you know, so it's always been there.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you, Chike,
Yes,
when did you first come across these modes, Uli and Nsibidi? When did you first come across them?
Yes, it's in two strands. One was, you know, as a child, after just as the war started, we ran home. We used to live in a town called Enugu. So when we went to the village, I was able to see women, because Uli is a tradition that is practiced by women. It's not something done by men. So I saw them decorating mud houses, and also decorating young girls and women who are going through puberty or during marriage ceremony or any other thing happening in the society there. So I grew up seeing that. Then the latter part of it was me being a student at Nsukka, University of Nigeria, Nsukka, where we call ourselves the Nsukka group. Happen to now try to revive some of the cultures we have, like Uli. Now we put this Uli in contemporary pattern. So the two strands is, one, as a child, I saw it firsthand, and secondly, now I'm able to incorporate it, like me and other people, or many other artists, are now incorporating Uli into our work.
Okay, and am I right in thinking that you've been inspired by these forms in your work?
Yes, Yes, I have. I use quite a variety of these forms, like ECOG, which is in Igbo land we have four market days. We don't have a week as in the normal calendar. Our calendar is just four days, and they are with the market days, which is Afo, Orie, Nkwo, and Eke. So we have 4 days. So I used to use that ECOG, the 4 parts of a kola nut, as part of idea to develop my work. This is just one.
Okay.
I could also use a lizard or a tortoise, to do my work.
Okay, well, thank you, Chike.
Thank
I'm
you.
just going to say, because I noticed here that there's something about Tomi has her hand raised. Just a minute, Tomi, if you do actually want to speak, that's in a minute. I wanted to say something about, there's a question that's been asked several times about West African languages being tonal. And I think, well, let's face it, languages generally are tonal. But what makes a language like Yoruba different is that one word that's spelled in one way could like mean several different things depending on the inflection, the way it is pronounced or said. So, like owo is money. It could be owo, which is hand. It could be owo, which is broom. Owo, he or she looked. So like that's the same. It's the same spelling, but with different like inflections on top of it. And that's the talking drum tradition is somehow linked to that sort of like subtlety of nuance in expression. So I hope that helps with understanding that. I don't think that other West African languages or traditions have as much of that sort of dynamic in the way that talking drums are used. Ife says, is it possible to learn how to use these languages? Well, it's about taking the lessons, I guess. I mean, like, and they're accessible in places like SOAS and wherever, and I guess on a more local level too. All right, then, and then Nana, I'm just conscious that we're getting close to like the time we need to finish. But yes, Nana, what would you want to say?
Oh, I just wanted to say there's a book about the talking drums on Amazon by J.F. Carrington, and it's called The Talking Drums of Africa.
Okay, so if anybody wants to like find out about that, then
yes,
you can...
and there are lessons. There's music on how you can play the talking drum on Amazon.
Yeah, sure. There's but obviously it's best to learn with like an actual
the teacher.
expert.
Yes,
one to
that's
one.
correct.
Yes,
that's correct.
Yes.
That's
well, thank
correct.
you, Nani. All right, so we are fast approaching the end of our presentation. Have you had a good time?
Yes, definitely.
Hope you have indeed. Before we say goodbye, we would like to draw your attention to IROKO's COVID-19 fundraising campaign. As you know, these are uncertain times we're living in. We have a platform called The Big Give, IROKO COVID-19 Support Appeal. You can find out more on our website at www.irokotheatre.org.uk. And I guess like similarly, if you want to find out about, Richard, and about talking drums or about the other symbols or anything like that, you can always get in touch that way. info@irokotheatre.org.uk would probably be a good point of contact. So back to like the big give. This is like the platform we have, like IROKO COVID-19 Support Appeal. Your donations will be highly appreciated. And so on that note, I'd like to say thank you to everyone for tuning in. That's fabulous of you. You've been a great, great audience. And I'm going to introduce you to the performers who've been involved in this presentation, starting with Biola or Lizzie, who is the mum. You see her there, strong mum. And then Sean, who's Olabisi. Where are you, Sean?
Hey guys, thank you.
They can unmute if they want to unmute themselves now.
Yeah, so audience, everybody, if you want to unmute, that's fine. Yeah. And then Richard, who you've already had quite a lot to say to. Okay. Alex, who just spoke then. Are you there, Alex? So that everyone can see you. Alex is the head honcho of IROKO.
I'm here.
Without him, it wouldn't happen. Yes. And then Kate, who has been organizing all of us, whipping us all into shape one way or the other. And then Shike, who you just heard from as well, the visual artist expert who has been in charge of all the sort of visual stuff in this project. My name is Juwon Ogungbe, and we'd like to thank very, very much the Heritage Lottery Fund for supporting this project. I can see that there's some more things in the chat. I'm just going to read them before we say bye-bye. So Jenny, let me go back. So there's like...
You're welcome on Saturday, Juwon. On Saturday.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes. Yes, and on that note, yes, there's a whole thing about on Saturday, the 8th of August, Shike is running a workshop, a visual art workshop, and that's our second live streaming event. Yes? So, it says Richard teaches talking drumming. It says that was amazing, learned so much. Lekia said I had an excellent time. Thank you very much, everyone at IROKO. Shiva says thank you so much to the team. Uche says this worked for me. Thank you very much, IROKO. Clap, clap, clap. Lots of clapping. Thank you. Jenny Copsey says thank you so much. A really interesting and informative evening. Debbie says thank you. Really brilliant. And I'm not quite sure what that word is meant to be. Method as well. Okay. And then Emily says thank you, IROKO. I've learned something new today about Nigerian heritage. Thanks. Helen says, thank you very much for allowing me to hear my mother tongue via Liz Doz. I loved her whole communication, body language, inflections. It all reminded me of my lovely mother. And Jenny says, thanks for bringing Yoruba alive in such a memorable way. Wonderful and warm. And Sean says, thank you everyone for logging in and making this happen. Selena says, thank you for an educational and fun theatre experience. And then for Ryan and Sharon, there's like clap, 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 clap. And Chacha says, great show, very informative. Greetings from the USA. Fabulous. Okay, so I'll just say again, on the 8th of August at 2 p.m., Shike is going to be leading a visual art workshop in our second live streaming event. So have a good evening, everyone. Thank you very much.
Where can we find the information to join that? Is it on Eventbrite as well?
Sorry? Yeah, so you'll be on Eventbrite too, sure.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
It's nice seeing you all.
Oh my dad do beef sila. Oh my dad do beef sila. Drop the beat now today. Oh my dad do beef sila. Oh my dad do beef sila. Oh my dad do beef sila. Drop the beef now today. Oh my dad do beef sila. Oh my dad do beef sila. Oh my dad do beef sila. Drop the beat now today. Oh my dad do beef sila. Oh my dad do beef sila. Oh my dad do beef sila. Drop the beef now today. Oh my dad do beef sila. Oh my dad do beef sila. Oh my dad do beef sila. Drop the beat now today. Oh my dad do beef sila. Oh my dad do beef sila. Oh my dad do beef sila. Drop the beef now today. Oh my dad do beef sila. Oh my dad do beef sila. Oh my dad do beef sila. Drop the beat now today. Oh my dad do beef sila. Oh my dad do beef sila. Oh my dad do beef sila. Drop the beef now today. Oh my dad do beef sila. Oh my dad do beef sila. Oh my dad do beef sila. Drop the beat now today. Oh my dad do beef sila. Oh my dad do beef sila. Oh my dad do beef sila. Drop the beef now today. Oh my dad do beef sila. Oh my dad do beef sila. Oh my dad do beef sila. Drop the beat now today. Oh my dad do beef sila. Oh my dad do beef sila. Oh my dad do